Peace. Good day. It's about 2:37 a.m. coming to you on this beautiful day. Let me look at the moon cycle right quick. On the Gregorian calendar, which is not the calendar that I allow to have jurisdiction over me, it is the fourth day of the fourth month, 2024. Okay. And I'm not going to stay long with discussing with you this thing that has come up for me, and I just wanted to share some patterns that I'm noticing. And I am looking forward to the new cycle of the moon and the eclipse with the sun and all that good energy that's coming in. I already feel it coming in, and people moving toward truth. All right, so it's still a waning crescent phase. All right. And they say the moon is viewed best before sunrise in the western sky right now. So that means each day it's growing smaller until the new moon. Why do I share the moon cycle? I just want to remind you that that is one of the things that ties us back to our heritage and our roots as a people, because following the solar calendar without the regard for the moon cycles was not something that we did. And I heard something that is prompting me to speak right now. But I will forewarn you, if you are sensitive about religion or politics or money, funds, finances, this is not going to be for you. I don't want to traumatize anyone, and I want to feel free to be truthful. And I want to just speak to what's come up for me right now about the season that we're in as people, because a lot of what happens next, we decide. Okay. And many of us are going to make decisions based on the beliefs we have in our religious upbringing. And that's very dangerous. So, as it relates to the moon, when during the pandemic, when I thought to go to church, I grew up in a Christian church, a conservative Christian church, and some very beautiful people I know and have had the opportunity to be, how can I say, fortunate to be in their lives, and me be a benefit, uh, me receive the benefit of the love and the goodness that they have to give to the world. And so nothing can ever take that away. But I will say that it has come a time when we must tell the truth about things. And so I want to be sensitive to those who are not seeking truth. They're happy with whatever beliefs that they've come upon. But it's just a dangerous time. So I want to be clear. It's also the opportunity for something really good. But if we're not thinking, speaking, and moving in the right direction, then we won't get there. So I want to just encourage people who are searching for peace in their lives, as it relates to knowing that we live in a safe world, or we have the finances for what we need, right? For I know there was a notice about a young lady being put out of her apartment, and I know that the healing for my people is not based in the second coming of something outside of us. And that's why I say it's really dangerous, because it's a dangerous time, because we have the opportunity to move into righteousness and improve the world. And then there's also an opportunity to sit and be happy and feel good, but then also miss doing what's necessary for a better world. So when it comes to tie that into politics, and as you see things going on, I just want to say this. About 2 years ago, I decided after reading and studying that if anything, I would be an elector, but I would not be a voter, because it's merely a suggestion. And it's merely a suggestion. And uh, I'm going to be honest with you. The more I study and the more I read, particularly about the US president, I wonder who's really the president. But it's the president of the corporation. And to be honest with you, it does matter. But at the same time, I know some things, if we don't do as a people, then what happens with the federal government of the US, that doesn't matter as much if we as people don't take dominion over our minds and the way we spend our time and our energy. Okay. So it's come to me when President 45 was 45. I went like 4 years, and I didn't really watch the news because it was traumatizing to me. I was thinking to myself, how is it that a man could say such things as he had said, and now he's president and I have to look at him for 4 years? I said, this is not going to happen. So I just didn't really watch TV that much. Now, some time has passed, and I've always, I shouldn't say I've always known, but in my 20s, I learned about how powerful it is and how important it is to be forgiving, not for the other person, but for your own self, to be forgiving. And so that's what I've done with 45. Now, he didn't do anything that would, I've never met him, right? But I think it was just like the vicarious trauma of some of the things he said that bothered me. But most recently, I've just listened to and watched the politicians and how they move and how they navigate the world. And I've come to do my own logic model on a situation, follow something all the way out. So with Trump, what he was proposing, and maybe people don't recognize what he's proposing, but I mean, those gold tennis shoes weren't for nothing. All right. So I said, well, floating rate note, where they think that, and I say they, I mean people who are responsible, the trustees responsible for managing the floating rate note and for increasing the floating rate note, FRNs. Some people commonly say the dollar bill, but that's not what they are, because dollar means that it's backed by gold. Right now, it's just backed by the full faith and credit of you. All right. And that puts the people in a state of bondage. That's what Deuteronomy is talking about. So we're actually living out Deuteronomy now. Are we going to free ourselves? Money can't free us. Our mind will free us. It's not the money. And so I watched 45, and he made a statement about, like how important Christianity and the Bible is. And I've come to realize my people who have a sense of morality naturally, whenever that's, you don't see that, it's not natural. It's probably something that's been done to them, or some thought that has been infused into their minds to make them forget that the word of the Most High is written on their hearts. I mean, actually, that's what it said. We've known that historically we're known to be a moral people. And some of the things that I'm talking about, the indigenous peoples, some of the things that you see in our community now is not organic to our people. It's what's been they've been conditioned into through school, through the media. It's better to have a state sponsored natural herb than the one that's like really from the ground, because the state sponsored one now, they are tainted. I've known of situations where I've been in the grocery store, and I know what boat smells like because I used to work DC in a community where I have to know what's going on. You go on a police ride along, the police will share a lot of things with you. And it's important to know who you're dealing with. And you can't look at someone's hands and just say, oh, they're just dirty. No, you need to know like why their fingertips are black or whatever it is, what different um, what different pharmaceuticals smell like, uncontrolled substances smell like. And so that's how I knew when I was in the grocery store. I'm like, what are these young people smoking? This is not just marijuana. This is something else. And then getting reports that people are passing away, dying from drugs that they are not known to use. So in this stage, and it's a shift too, though, right? Because um, we saw the DHS bust of P Diddy, right? So that's a little breakthrough. In my mind, I'm like, well, how did it get that bad though? How did it get to the point where women don't have anybody to call if they need something? Why is it that the men, not all of them, but a lot of the men nowadays, when I hear these, these little circles with the men talking to the women, why do the men always think that a woman, if he cannot be intimate with her, then she's no value to him? It used to be a time when men and women had, not all, but they could have a brotherly, sisterly type of relationship, and then the woman could give, uh, like a brother, she could give him advice if he wants it. He has someone to bounce things off of, and then vice versa. And so nowadays, I notice young people sit around and say what they want in a relationship, and all the head snapping, and I need this, and you're not going to this and that, and that is not the heritage of my people. But I tie all that in to say that we are awakening to some of the ways of our ancestors, as far as taking care of ourselves and taking care of each other. And so that's why what I'm going to say now, I know might be offensive, but number 45 was just talking about the importance of Christianity. And you know, there's Christianity, and then some people say there's what is it? Where people follow the Apostle Paul, right? And then there's Constantinian version of Christianity, which is different. Which is different. Um, I know people who think it's okay to treat others like garbage, you know, in the name of the Christ, Jesus, right? I just think it's interesting how one leader is letting us know that the ancient images of the Jesus, of the Christ, it's not the same. The ancient pictures of the Christ was a dark skinned man. And for my people, if anything was a concern to me, is that they would worship or idolize a God that doesn't look like them. More so, a matter about it being the Christ being black and white. It's just a matter that he doesn't look like you. Every culture, most cultures, have deities that look something like them. And then, to be honest with you, That's the difference between Christianity and the ancient indigenous peoples way here in the Americas, is that we did not idolize a God. We did not idolize a God. And part of how I know this is because I've spent time on reservations. I've spent time around indigenous peoples who have their rituals when it's time to bury the dead, have rituals around matrimony services, right? And have rituals around bringing in the rain and invoking the power of the Most High. And nothing in there included like asking a God, a specific God, to please just, like fix my whole life, right? There's singing, there's dancing, and there's certain times when you pray. I guess it'll be okay where to say pray, but you dance and sing, and you expect the gods in the heaven to bring whatever it is. And so, in time, the idea of a one universal God and multiple gods through the different cultures, through what you see on the walls as far as what they left to show us what their thought was, it's been different. I should say various renditions of what folks believe, what people believe, and there are many countries that have an acceptance of people's religions for many cultures. But I just want to say that as far as our people go, the thought that we're supposed to sit back and just do a little bit of something in the corner until, and be what their version of righteousness is, um, until the second coming, like this is harmful to my people. I personally know people who think they can say whatever, do whatever, and then when you let them know, hey, this is a little bit hurtful, they will treat you like garbage, Bible thump, find some little verse in the Bible that has nothing to do with their narcissistic behavior, right? And then actually poison the environment so no one like will want to associate with you because you disagree with them and they have the perfect version of God in their head. Okay. I've received that energy. And I feel sorry for people like that because their energy is such that they receive things from a low place. They're putting out low energy because, well, they don't recognize it's low energy because they feel good about it. But if you challenge anything about how they see themselves, it tears and breaks them down, right? So I was talking to a brother today about that. It was a beautiful gospel song on the radio, and I was just talking about how much I really love this. Jonathan McReynolds has a new song, and then we just started talking about Christianity, and so we know that there are 16 versions. 16 versions of Christ stories that have been documented. But the one about Jesus the Christ, it tells us that Jesus is outside of us. It doesn't emphasize. Some people get it. Some people are just pure love, and they also think there's the second coming they're waiting for. But in the meantime, they love. Okay. And that's why I said at the beginning, if you're happy with your way and your thought, please, don't get caught up in this right here because I'm talking to people who have not had church families that have been accepting of what you're finding, right? So I'm talking to you, and I'm saying that we cannot wait for anyone outside of ourselves to save us. And I don't just mean a Christ. I mean like politicians. I mean, as women indigenous to the land, it was through the doctrine of discovery, the Christian denominations, that our lands were taken and our families and homes were broken up, right? Through the Trail of Tears and other things where our culture and our heritage was lost. And so I just want to encourage people to keep reaching for that. And even now, I see it now. I see I see the patriarchy. Some are standing up and they're wanting to see us win. And I don't mean like women over men. I don't mean like that. I mean like as a people, see us win. Because the only way we can win is together. So when I see rituals and customs and practices that still keep us apart and waiting for the woman to do something, um, like to save all of humanity alone. It's kind of like that movie, wasn't it called like Woman King, or I don't know. Some Imagine a warrior woman out traveled far away. This is the basis of estates too, right? When people were away, then the king would keep care of their estate until when they came back so that the state wouldn't spoil. But so imagine a woman is out fighting a war, and then she recognized that she's 3 months pregnant when she's out there. And then something happens where, let's say she goes to term with the baby. Was she fighting wars while she's pregnant? See, these type of concepts don't make any sense to me. And I'm not one to entertain something that doesn't make sense. Maybe I need to learn to be more polite. But if something doesn't make sense, it just doesn't make sense. I'm not going to entertain it for very long. I'll entertain it for long enough to not like put somebody down who thinks that that's okay, that actually makes sense to grab upon these cultures where the woman is all strong and mighty and she can save the world. So I just wanted to speak about that and about finances. One thing I could say that I appreciate about 45, I started to say this, but I didn't get to it all the way, was that it seems like he's trying to take the dollar back to something stable, right? To be backed by silver or gold. Now, I don't know how much people study culture, but there are people who have ideas and recommendations for going to like a society where you don't exchange like riches or wealth. I don't know what their plan is, but just the fact that someone thought of that, I thought that that's interesting. Someone who wants equality and equity, right? So when it comes to the silver and the gold, I say, first of all, focus on the people. And when we focus on the people, then we're going to have the right ideas for um, for furthering society and bringing balance back to the land. Because when I look at interest, see, what is the wicked thing about interest is that we've gotten into usury. I don't think it's the case that all interest is bad, okay? And there are stories in the Bible that substantiate what I'm saying. And the Bible is a book of banking. And that's important too, like with religion. in Christianity, particularly, that when we talk about the Bible, let's start from the fact that there are messages that are hidden in the Bible. If you just look at the Bible and read it literally, there's so much that you'll miss out on, and you'll end up having conversations about things that it's like, well, do you think it was like red? Was he wearing red, or was he wearing like burnt orange? Or, do you think that really happened exactly like that? See, I've been in circles where people have these conversations trying to iron out details and really missing the nature of the universal principles that can be found in the Bible. And I'm talking about um, the cause and effect. That's universal. Um, the laws of gender. That's universal. Like when we know these laws, we're not going to have conversations on gender identity, and these things they just fade away, and we can focus on really what's important, as far as people having housing, people having food, and us being able to exercise our choice. Already we don't fully I don't fully have that, as it relates to um, full exercise of my God-given rights. Okay. I'm learning how to claim back some of that. All right. But I know that um, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to come back to our heritage. When it says honor God over your mother and father, it doesn't mean just do what the church tells you to do and then have your mother out there struggling for having her needs met. The truth is, it's honoring your mother and father that is the highest form of um, honoring the divinity that's in you, around you, and through you. And so I just felt like I needed to say something in response to um, when I heard 45 say about us all being Christian, because I know he knows about the 1724 Black Christian slave codes. Yeah. I know he knows that the foundation of the economy is built on that of the indigenous peoples who look like me. And I honestly also see that the things he talks about in general, as far as policy, would be better for the people than than the opponent, as far as Biden, because um, I know that it's no mistake that the lands are being shifted, and when it comes to population, see, when people are taken off of their lands, they're taken away from their power. When people are denationalized, when they're made to be objects of another corporate state, then they are not powerful anymore. And so when people come over here across the border and they don't have their business and fair, they're not coming. See, other countries, right? Other countries, every state is a country. So other countries have it where you have to come with a certain amount of finance. You have to come for business. You have to come with a purpose. And so, yes, people have the right to travel, but you're not coming, some people are not coming over as travelers. See, so when I see these type of things happening, um, I just say, let's all come into honor. I say, um, there is there is reciprocity, there is cause and effect. And so, since we're coming into the awakening, the things that worked before to subjugate people, they don't work anymore. And I will say that I think that sometimes the people who are used to be of help to the original indigenous people are sometimes given false information. I think that's what happened to Martin Luther King Jr., is that he earnestly cared about his people. He earnestly cared, but he was given false information as to the path that's for us, this integration path and that sort of thing. And so that's why I'm like slow to tell people like what I think they should do or whatever have you, except for uh, learn what righteousness is. Because if we were already told what was truly righteous, then why would the world be in experiencing so much disarray? Why would we have so many homeless people? Why would we have so many people who are hungry? Why would we have so many people in high places who lie and are in fear mode for their paychecks, do stuff that's wrong because their boss told them to, you know? So I just wanted to rebut what he was saying. I think the most important thing, because I read history and my eyes are open to the truth, which if you seek, you will find. Um, some people are not seeking because they're not ready to learn the truth. Okay. So um, if you pay attention to the underlying ethics and morals, life is so much better. Life is so much better, I say. But it was those who were really heavy into supposed to be a witness for goodness that were really causing drama and causing chaos. That was part of what made me study to learn the truth. And I recognized that it was really just their ego, but it was the ego that they were conditioned and taught to, to maintain, so they can maintain their image, so that they could really be controlled themselves, so that they could be used to cause drama elsewhere. They don't know that. They didn't know that. But like I said, I've met so many people where I definitely wouldn't want to shake anyone's apple cart. And I think, however, someone connects to the spirit of Christ, that that is important. That is what is important, is the spirit of Christ, the spirit of love, the spirit of ma'at, the spirit of self-sacrifice, but at the same time order, right? Just like the symbolic story of the Christ and turning up the tables with the money changers and being upset. And so that's another thing too. We can't judge righteousness by someone's temperament all the time, because certain things, they'll pull out passion in you. Okay, I can be a passionate person. Then that's what I relate to. Is it's like, people. We don't have to pretend to be even keel all the time when inside you're burning up with something, whether it be good excitement or whether it be something like you're angry about something. And you can be angry. What does the Heliobibliotext say? Be angry and sin not, right? So we want to learn to have compassion for ourselves and compassion for others. And then we don't have to be worried about controlling other people. We can come out of our anxiety and come out of our, um, some people, depression, right? And also um, just recognize the the roles that our relationship has with our thinking and our mind. We don't ever want to be subjected to someone else's thought pattern. We can agree with someone and we can move forward. And how do you move forward unless we agree? But if you have a principle to stand on it. If you know you're a part of something that is hurtful to someone else, move away from it. You know, um, do no harm. All right, do no harm. Let's see. Maybe little another day. Yeah, I'll talk about the laws of Ma'at, the laws of Hammurabi, which is the foundation for the Ten Commandments. But just know that Moses' calendar, that's something that's from the Gregorian calendar. Okay. And so I see that because we don't understand calendars, we are then separated as people. And so once we understand the sun, moon, and stars and how they go together for science and for seasons and things like that, then we can't actually even be separated. We can't be separated because the truth is the truth. So when I found out that how our calendars shape our perception about life and time, and I realized the separation that's put between us because someone thinks their God is better than someone else's. I say no. So, with that said, I just want to say whenever I have the chance to say it, I accept the lands back here at Turtle Island. I'm working on learning the fictitious system, and to rebut all the claims that are made on us. Specifically, there's a claim made by, I think it was a company. Let me see, is it North American Water and Supply? Like on all the people at United States on like real men, arms, legs. That's not good. And I rebut that claim. That's a commercial claim and a fictitious. I mean, it's de facto. In fact, we do these things, these claims, and what have you. But when we know about natural law, right, we know that whatever we do, we put even into the sea of commerce, it needs to be righteous. Because those who do unrighteous on the spiritual level, it's going to come back to you. And I want people to be free. Whether you in the business of helping people or hurting people, I want you to be free and come into an easier and a lighter way. So that's just something that's on my heart. I want to share with my desire for the world. And I'll talk to you a little bit more after I do more what I need to do. Today, I did put a lien, a UCC lien on about 10 people who were operating in fraud at the Board of Social Work Examiners, because people's lives are not to be played with, right? So when we recommend something, we have to do it according to righteousness. And I'm not, I know some people talk about rights and privileges and things like that. I'm not one who's against having a vetting process and a license for certain things, because I think that's part of what used to be so good about America, is that you don't really hear too much about buildings just falling down. You know, if there's a building that fell down here, it's not because it wasn't put up right, because you have standards. And so I think standards are important and order is important in that way. Um, right now, though, it's a time of lawlessness here, right? So even when things need to be done right, um, you call somebody to say something and it, like, who's going to help? But I don't give up. All right. I want the best for my people, and not just my people, but for the world. because I know that life is where it is. It's not normal or natural to spend our time in our life sad or trying to oppress others. So thank you for hearing me. Be well.